Hey, I'm Ace. My birth name is actually Hadassah Miriam Shah. I am Indo-Semitic, that's Indian Jewish. Grew up in a very, very big family on both sides, and I grew up in a small flat in London. I was a very creative kid. I didn't have any TV channels. We had a TV, but it was a small 90s box TV. So being creative was my way of entertaining myself, but I love to read and write and dance and make robots and stuff out of like cardboard boxes. Just anything that I could do to be creative, I would do. Then when I was about 7 or 8, I moved to Kenilworth, which is a very small suburban town. So moving from a city to a small town was a very difficult transition, and I developed depression at a very early age because of it. I'm not gonna lie, I never really liked it in Kenilworth. At first I was very resistant because I instantly became the weird kid at school who loved to dress up and had a weird accent and was just super creative and doing all these weird things, but it served me well in the end. I think I was trying to be so many different things because I didn't know really who I was, but I knew that I loved dancing and I wanted to be a dancer. I wanted to be an athlete, so I did dancing, I did ballet, street dance, sports, gymnastics. But around 13, 14, I had an accident and I damaged my back and my spine, and I had to quit everything. I had to quit dancing and gymnastics, all of that. But I always did music on the side because my grandparents on my mum's side, they were my biggest influences musically because they were very into classical music, so they forced music lessons on me from a very young age. I always learnt piano, violin, flute. Piano was the only one I really stuck with though. And so having to quit dancing and all of that, I ended up taking up writing full time. I wrote scripts. I wanted to be an author actually. I still did music. I focused in on writing songs, but it wasn't until I got to college that I really realised that music was my true calling, because I always wanted to be a front woman. You know, I idolised Aerosmith and Bon Jovi and Joan Jett. I wanted to be a front woman on stage in leather with big hair, shredding guitar. My nickname Ace actually came about from when I started the band Ace and the Oddity, when I recorded my first EP, and I took that name because I loved the character of Ace from Doctor Who. Doctor Who was one of my biggest influences actually. In terms of how I dress, I love my trench coats, and I'm very whimsical and eccentric when it comes to pretty much everything. A lot of that EP was actually inspired by Doctor Who if you listen to the lyrics carefully. But yeah, my first moniker was Ace Oddity, and then I took up Ace Ambrose for my second EP, and the name just stuck. Did a year at Stratford College doing script writing, because while I loved doing music on the side, I thought that I was going to be a writer. And so halfway through my first year at Stratford College, I got really sick, and I struggled with my health all throughout my life anyway. I was always a very skinny kid, but it wasn't really until college that we realised something was really wrong. I wasn't putting on any weight. I was hovering at around 6.5, 7 stone, which was really dangerous, and people thought I had an eating disorder, but it turned out that my body just wouldn't accept nutrients from food properly. The doctors are still trying to figure out a diagnosis actually right now. I'm still struggling with it a lot, but as a result I started to develop issues with my joints and my muscles, and I got so sick that I had to drop out of Stratford, and I ended up doing 2 years of music at Warwick College because that was less stress on me mentally, and I just loved music, so I figured why not. And that's when I realised that music was what I was supposed to do. And I've been in a lot of bands. I was in my first band when I was 13. It was a punk band in Camden, but I think my favourite band I've ever been in is definitely my college band. We just had so much fun. We were called the Menagerie, and my favourite gig I ever played was the Halloween gig because I'd shaved my head, dyed it red, and we were just having so much fun. I love the big gigs, but it's the small intimate gigs that are my favourite just because of the energy. And yeah, I'm still performing despite my health, and I've released an EP, I'm working on an album, Health has always been a really big obstacle with music because I have TMJ, which is a joint disorder in my jaw. Obviously I still struggle with my joints and my muscles, and I'm starting to lose my mobility in my wrists. I spent a lot of time in college in and out of hospital, and it did get really bad, but luckily it's looking up. Then COVID hit and the gigs stopped, and I lost my income, and my physical and mental health just plummeted. And obviously times are really tough right now, but I've got a new band and I've got new music on the way, and I ain't giving up anytime soon. So this is my story so far.